Good morning, everyone. My name's Seth Aldrich. I'm a water operations manager here. And I'm going to take this opportunity today to share something we're pretty excited about, the new developments we've made with our new online water ordering system. This system does a lot more than just place water orders. So in the respective time, I'm going to try to move through this so that I can get to the other features of this system so that we can all see it. So I'm going to jump right in here. Next slide. Our goals for the project were to improve the mobile experience. We wanted to provide more useful information and tools to our growers. We wanted to improve communications through email and text, and we wanted to revamp the current web browser experience. So just to be clear before moving on, we currently have an online water ordering system. This was a revamping of that entire system to add more to it. This also falls in the district strategic plan technology goal 1C, where it's discussing providing real-time information and system improvements to growers. Next slide. A brief timeline of this project. We started December 15th last year. The requirements and the scope of this project were defined by a combination of departments here. It was the call center, the water distribution department, grower feedback from growers that we knew who were using the current system, and then the IT department. This was a recursive process where there are many meetings happening across disciplines so that we could figure out exactly what we wanted before IT started development on it. The development through IT went for a little over a month into early March. During this time, there was heavy testing and validation, and we rolled out by March 19th. We rolled it out to customers on March 25th. I'm going to speak a little bit more about that later. Next slide, please. Okay, these are stats that we took yesterday. If you're curious about how it's going so far, this thing's alive and breathing out there right now. And of the 550 active users we had on the system last year, more than 240 have signed on to the new system. 90 of them are operating strictly from a phone. There's more than 50 online order places already this year, and there's over 100 people having multiple interactions with the new system already. I'm going to show you a bit of the new system right now. And before I do, I want to say that the next slide you're going to see is the desktop view of the enhanced system. There's a lot of information here. I'm going to briefly walk you through it, and then I'm going to spend most of the time on the mobile system, and I'll discuss that as we move. So next slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to take some time here because viewing what's displayed here, you can kind of imagine what else is possible in the system. But what we're looking at here is it looks like a grid, and I'm going to move top to bottom, left to right. This is considered what you would see on your computer at your desktop. So you have more real estate on the screen here, and that allows you to see more information, and this is what you can see. If you go to the very top, moving left to right, there's 5 buttons right there. You can see export to Excel, export to PDF, add a parcel, manage my group, summary report. Those buttons I'm going to talk to a little bit more later, but the point here is that you can export this information into your own Excel spreadsheets, and you can manipulate it how they fit your operations. You can also export it straight to PDFs for emailing or saving data. Right below those 5 buttons, still towards the top, you can see group name with an X. That's a filter that's been placed on there. And if you look down below, there's 2 groups. There's a group name of almonds at the top, and then there's a group name of peaches below it. Now it's displayed that way because it's being filtered by groups. So this grower has made 2 groups, one of almonds, one of peaches, and he's deciding that right now he wants to look at them divided into groups. So he's grabbed the title of one of the columns, which was the group name, and he moves it up to the top there, and that will refilter what you're looking at. So you can imagine if you took that group name filter off of there, you would see all of your parcels top to bottom, but they would not be divided into groups. It would be a global view of your operations. I'm going to go right below that filter, moving left to right, starting with actions. These are the titles of the columns And this is the information that we're looking at. So on the left, we have actions. This is going to be very important for us later. Then you have an alias. The alias is the name that you give it yourself. A lot of people call it mom's place or dad's place or the 40 acres on Berkeley. You can name it whatever suits your operations. We also have parcel number information that's been redacted from this, but it also displays that. Then you have acres, delivered acre feet, remaining acre feet, tiers, and total usage. So to simplify this, I'm only going to look at the next line down, the first line moving across from left to right in the almonds group. Moving from left to right, it gives you all of that information on one single parcel. So on the left, there's actions, and we're looking at the Grattan 17-acre parcel. To the left, there's 5 buttons. These buttons are action buttons. I'm going to go into these in detail, but basically what you can do is you can order water from the first button with the water drop. You can click on an info page, which will show you all the info for that parcel. You can click on a summary page, which will generate cumulative usage information on that parcel. And then there's also a forecasting tool. These are the really cool features that people are excited about. I'm going to go to in detail later, but right now we're just going to move on. And so if you just look at this screen, you can see on the top one that they've used up all their water. There's a spark line on the right that's red. It's showing 100% total usage. If you move backwards from there, they're in tier 4 already. They have 0 remaining feet. We've delivered 503 acre feet to them. That's that one single parcel right there. As you move down the page, you can see that you can see totals. And then you can see your other group. You can see your peaches group. So the limits of groups is unlimited. You can group parcels by however you feel necessary. Was speaking with a lot of the growers, they do it in a lot of different ways. Some guys do group by crop type. Other guys group by location if their operations are very spread out. And some guys group by canals if they're on multiple canals. So the point here is that this is a desktop view where you could view all of your parcel data at once. You can also go in and order water and view information on each parcel individually. What I'm going to do now is we're going to move to the mobile view. And
questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Is there any comments?
So on the 3 dots that are to the right of each heading,
Yes.
what will that allow you to do?
Okay, so all of those headings can be clicked and dragged. So you can click and hang on to it and you could move it. So if you want to do this stuff, you can do this. But also they're able to click and move up into that filter row. So
how about sorting? Can you sort?
Yes,
2 dots?
exactly. And that's what the filter does. In those 3 buttons, you can sort, you can hide the columns, things like that. You can also take the entire column, and if you wanted to organize and sort by acres, you would grab the acres title, slide it up there, and it does that. So yes, there's
on each row you have the pencil mark. Does that allow you to comment on that parcel?
all the way to the right, the little pencil is edit parcel information.
Okay.
Next to that is delete. So there's a couple things here I'm going to show you, but when you go to edit parcel information, and if you clicked on the parcel info button to the left, you get static information for the parcel. And what I mean by that is information that throughout the year is not going to change. So your side gate, your pipeline, contact information, service area, your ditch tender, all of that static information that's associated with a parcel, that's all housed in the information page for the parcel. Now, if you need to go change your irrigator's name or whatever it may be, that's when you would use that pencil to make those adjustments at that point.
And then if people are, if you've transferred water from one parcel to another, how would that be indicated here?
It would be indicated in the remaining water for that parcel. The transferring of the water is still going to need to go through the call center.
Sure, understood. But I just wanted to see how that would be recorded. If, you know, if the old home ranch was next to his Grattan 17 acres, you know, and maybe he he or she wanted to,
Yeah, and so I think that would function in a similar way where, for example, some people have rented their pumps this year and they get 12 inches of water. And when I went out and I showed them this, that was their question. Where is the 12 inches? How do I know? How can I see it? So we checked back on this and it's included in the remaining number. So your remaining number will jump. It's not differentiated as in this is your regular available water this year, and then here's the 12 inches from your pump, and then here's water transferred. So visually, the optics of it, it's one number here found in the remaining. And to double check on that, because some of these transfers are very complicated, we want to definitely call into the call center and verify those numbers.
Good, thank you.
Next slide, please. Okay, so this is a screenshot, and a lot of the stuff you're going to see here briefly are screenshots from the real system. These are taken from an iPhone. You see that on your right. This is a parcel homepage. So this is very similar to a homepage on your phone. Now notice it looks very different than what you just saw on the desktop, but it's the same exact information. When you're looking at the desktop, we're looking at a parcel linearly, left to right. So what you're looking at here on the phone is they took that whole row of information per the parcel and they squeezed it onto one screen right here, which means you can only see one parcel at a time on the phone, but you can see all parcels. I'm going to walk through the screen with you very quickly. At the top, very top left, you see the pancake menu button. It says parcels, and then there's a home button on the top right. That's for navigating. You do not want to use your back buttons on your browser for this. You want to navigate within the software. Where it says almonds, that's the group. So whatever groups you've put in there, you can click that drop-down menu and select the group that you want to look at. Next to that is a plus sign. That's how you add a parcel to that group on your phone. You just select the group, hit the plus sign, enter the information, and you're done. Moving below that is a gray box that says NW almonds. That's the alias. The farmer calls this the Northwest almonds. We can see that it's 23.3 acres. And typically there would be a parcel number there at the top, which we've redacted. Below that, you can see that yellow tag there that says recent request. I'm showing you this intentionally because once you place an order on a parcel, we needed a way to notify you that you have done that there's a record of it, and it's easy. And this is what we came up with, is as soon as you place an order on a parcel and it has not been delivered yet, you get this notification on the parcel saying recent request. Moving below that is used and remaining water in inches and in acre feet. And then the last request date and the last delivery. This information is familiar with us. This is what we just saw on the desktop, just in it displayed differently. And then at the very bottom of the screen, you see those 4 gray buttons. This is very important. Moving left to right, the button on the left is a water order button with a drop of water there. The next button to the right is a parcel information sheet. That's that static information that's connected to your parcel that doesn't change. Next to that is a PDF report, and next to that is a trash can for deleting the parcel. So the ease of navigation here is something that we were really happy with, and then the ease of access to information for the growers. We tried to put as much of it on here that we could that would be useful, and we also tried to make it as up to date as possible, which we'll be looking at here more closely. So this is the home screen of a mobile view. So one of your questions might be, okay, if I can see one screen right here on my phone, one parcel, how do I see the other parcels? On the desktop screen, it's all gridded out for you, top to bottom. On this, you can only see one parcel. So what you do is, if you imagine you were holding this phone with your thumb, you would slide, you'd flick it with your thumb, and this parcel goes, and the next parcel in the group shows up, and you can move just like that. You can see everything that you can on the desktop, just not at the same time. The next slide is another home screen for a parcel, but it has some differences that I would like to highlight for you before we keep moving on. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the same screen you were just looking at. And my point to you here is it looks a little bit different. And that's because the situation's different here on this parcel. This parcel is actually irrigating right now. Whereas the screen you just saw, it looks like a parcel that just placed a request. Whoever this is, they're irrigating right now. And so this is where we're going to talk a little bit about how current is this information. At the top under the parcels, there's a green spark graph there. It says usage 13.19%. That is your usage, and that is as current as the last receipt. Now, a couple years ago, IT developed for the water department what we call the TAWA system. The TAWA system is a digital system to enter receipts for WDO, so that we were trying to speed up the turnaround time of delivery and then receipt, and then the information is updated. We were speeding that up. So that spark line at the top, that's what that's based on. That's as quick as your receipt gets into the system by the WDO, that information is updated. Below that, you have usage information. I'm going to skip through this. We're a bit familiar with that. And I want to draw your attention to the very bottom of this screen where it says real-time flows. You can see that this person's irrigating right now on lateral 5.5, side gate 11.2, and they're pulling 5.89 CFS from the canal. This is something people are really excited about. This was available in the old online system that we had, and we wanted to maintain this component of it as we rolled out this new enhanced model. And so I'm just showing you that it is still available. Now, I want to be clear about this is that when you want to see real-time flows from the canals, and farmers rave about the value of this, but when you can see your flow, it's very valuable to them. However, you can only see your real-time flow if you're operating through a permanent Rubicon gate. Now, we only have so many gates throughout the system. These gates are put on our heavy used lines, so they get used frequently. But you will not be able to see your real-time flow if you're on your private side gate that just goes to your house and there's no permanent meter on there. This only applies to where we have the technology at the canal as well, but you can do it. Before I move on here, what we're going to do is we're going to pretend that we want to place an order from our phone. So we're going to look at the very bottom of this phone screen where the little water spigot is and the drop of water, and we're going to pretend that we pushed it. And by pushing that water order button, it would bring us to our next slide. Next slide, please.
Hey, Seth, before you move on real quick.
Yes.
You were talking about the improvements we've made in the speed of getting that accurate information back to the customer on their actual flows.
Yes.
How does the grower know what was the last date that was updated as? Did it show on that last slide somewhere?
It does show the last request and the last delivery. Now, if you're a grower and you're checking your numbers and you've just irrigated and you called the ditch tender and or the WDO and you said, hey, I'm finished, I went from here to here, I'm done. He's got that information. It's a question of when that information gets input into the TAWA system. We've given the WDOs the ability to do it from anywhere. They can do it in their trucks in an effort to speed that up. But you will get the requested and the delivery date. Now, as a grower, you're watching your numbers. If you ever had a question, at least with guys that I worked with that were watching it every irrigation, especially in droughts, and you question it, I would call your WDO and it's just, hey, I'm just looking at my numbers. I want to know if you entered my last receipt. If the answer is, yeah, I have, then you know you're good. If the answer is no, not yet, then it's a matter of them. It's, hey, can you please enter that? They just need to find a minute to enter it for you and get it in so that you can know that you're looking at updated information. And one more thing, Director Alamo, is the other way would require some more lay work, but you're keeping track of your irrigations and you know where you left off prior to this irrigation. You know where your numbers were there. And so you're kind of waiting for a change or an update to those from that point. But being an operator and working out in the field with people, I would encourage you to call your WDO directly. Simple question, hey, have you put this in? Okay, thank you. If not, can you please do that?
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so we just pretended we pushed the water ordering button at the bottom of the parcel screen, and it takes us to this screen. This is the water order screen. This is kind of what everything's based off, although you can see that it does a lot of other things. So the ease of ordering, I want to talk about this very briefly. You can order from anywhere on your phone, from the field. People love ordering from the field. And you can do this after hours. We had a couple farmers. I remember Alan Peterson was telling me, Seth, listen, I like this. It looks good. I'm never going to order water on this thing. It just, I need to talk to somebody, and that's how he operates. And there's nothing wrong with that. But by the end of this, you can see the wheels turning, and he's thinking to himself, wait a minute, like after the call center closes, or if the call center is busy and I can't get through, and I placed my orders already, and I'm at home watching TV, and I remember that I forgot something. Can I just from my couch order it in at midnight and it will come through the next day? And the answer to that is yes. That's the point of this. It's ease of access. So being able to order from anywhere and doing it from after hours has been something that people have been excited about. You can see what the screen looks like, and it's very simple. You select your irrigation method. Right here, you can see that side gate 4.4 for sprinklers at 2.0 feet have been selected. You can click that drop-down menu and select your other configurations from us. Let's say if you had a flood head, for example. So you just enter your method. What crop are you doing? How many hours do you want? And then you can push the airplane button at the bottom, and that will send that order off. Now, one thing I'll say before I move on is, as you're entering the hours in that field right there, you have to enter in quarter hour increments. And as you do it, at the very bottom right there where it says hours remaining prior and hours remaining after, those are responding to whatever you input in that box. So if you change it to 2, the calculation changes right there. So you can kind of see where you're going to be after you use this water before you send the order in. Are there any questions on this slide before I move on? Okay, next slide, please. Okay, now we're going to pretend we push the next button, which is the Parcel Summary page. I'm really excited to talk about this. This is when we were talking to growers in the field. This is when they saw this, they start leaning forward a little bit. This is a single click of a button right here, and it creates this PDF, and it's a summary of all the data on the particular parcel that you're interested in. I'm not going to go over all of this, but it's your service area, it's your delivery options. You can see that it shows you what tier you're in acre feet and inches. How much is the water costing you? You can see a pie-shaped object up there that's clocking your remaining and used water in percentages. And then in the middle, you see a linear graph moving left to right. The blue bar graphs are individual irrigations. And the red line going across is your cumulative use over the season. You can see that the 2 irrigations on both ends were micro irrigations using very little water. And then you can see a flood irrigation there in the middle. Below that graph, it says there's no orders pending. If you had an order out on this, when you printed this out, it would tell you there's 1 order out for this. Okay, and then at the very bottom, it shows your historical use this year on the parcel. So this is a super fast way. You push 1 button, you get this report on the parcel. A lot of farmers ask, I want to see more. One of their concerns is they want to see more historical data. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is where you can see that. And then what we've been telling people, how we're kind of foreseeing this being used, is at the end of the year, if you want a summary on every single parcel that you manage that season, you can 1-click all the parcels. So you don't have to go to every parcel and print out every single report. You can click a summary report with 1 click and print them all at once. You can save them all at once. You can email them. You can print them out. You can do whatever you want with them. But we would encourage growers at the close of a season to print out every summary report for every parcel. And then in the future, we can use this information as a benchmark for our progress for the current year. I'm going to move on from this, but I just want to make sure that there are no comments on this before I do. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, this is a forecasting tool. This is amazing, and I can't say enough good things about it. We can't wait to get a bunch of people on here and interacting with this. I'm going to kind of show you how it works very briefly. So this is just a planning tool, especially in drought years for growers. You input basically three things. You need three things. You need how you're going to irrigate. Are you going to flood? Are you going to use your drip? Whatever that may be. So you put in your configuration there in the middle on the left. It says configuration. You put that in. You put in how many hours you want to run, and you put in the delivery date that you would like to see. Okay. Now entering those three things will populate a blue bar up here, and the blue bars are individual irrigations. So if you look at the delivery date, it says 6/21/2021. Now, if we move up and move to the right on the bar graph, you can see that last irrigation. That's what that is. That's 6/21/2021. That is the information we're putting onto that graph right now. And if we look at the bottom left here, where it says computed usage, this is important. As you're entering in these times, and again, you're estimating, you're planning, you're kind of seeing how the year will take you given your available water. Below, it's computing your usage. Now, the important thing here is that it's computing your usage in acre feet, in inches, in hours, and numbers of irrigations of that type remaining. Now, the reason why I talk about this is if you guys have worked with us and you're a grower and you irrigate, you know that sometimes we speak different languages. There's times when we talk to growers and they're thinking in hours. I need this many hours on this field. I need this many hours. And in the office here at TID, we're thinking in acre feet and inches. And the WDOs are thinking in side gates and acres and flow. And so we're all doing the same thing, but we all kind of use different units to arrive at the same conclusion. And so you see a lot in this new enhanced system where we display information. It's usually displayed in multiple forms of units. So it's acre feet, inches. Here it's also hours and computed irrigations remaining. That helps us communicate. And I want to say this. As a grower, you are planning with this tool. And then you can kind of see what it's going to look like. What's not happening here is that you're scheduling your irrigations. That's completely different. You're scheduling for your own planning purposes, seeing where the year is going to take you. When we talk to people about this, most of what came up was like, you know what, I'm going to use this to figure out if I can do the extra irrigation on the oats. Is when we were talking to oats guys. It's, can I squeeze in that one? If I do that, what does that leave me with the corn later? And so this is a place where you could figure that out. For tree guys is a little bit different. They're kind of saying, well, how many days am I going to wait? And what about if I didn't use district water and I used my well, or I partially used my well? Where is that going to put me? So different growers with different operations, they have kind of a different use for this. But this should bring us all to the same conclusions of how you're planning to use your water throughout the year, given the available amount. Where will it leave you at the end? And this is just a tool for farmers that's meant to help them figure that out. I forgot to mention that red line there going up, left to right, that's the cumulative use. So that's summative, okay? And then below that, the blue graphs are individual irrigations there. This is a low risk environment for a farmer to come in. They can put in whatever they want and figure out whatever they want. And we really hope that this is going to be something that creates a great value to this system, aside from the fact that it can order water.